afternoon and hello, folks. My name is Rich Alongo, and I will be your host for today's presentation. Our webinar today is about BMC Remedyforce for Salesforce users. Flycast Partners' very own Kyle Hamilton will be presenting. Kyle is an experienced in information technology and service industry for many, many years. We'll just put it at that. He's skilled in business service management, network automation, ITIL processes, IT asset management, and IT service management, just to name a few. Over the years, Kyle has had the opportunity to learn and demonstrate multiple IT platforms from the various leaders in our industry. He can evaluate any customer's current environment and make recommendations that make good business sense for their IT department. Kyle, let me introduce our organization. Flycast Partners utilizes an extensive wealth of knowledge and experiences through a diverse variety of technologies, including IT service management, IT asset management, IT operations management, all while working with virtually all the major players over the past 20 years or so. We've dedicated ourselves to finding and representing not only the best-in-class technology, but more importantly, the right people to assure that our customers are successful with their business and IT processes. We provide both the services we provide the service implementations both on-site and remote, especially in these days that we're living in now. I know the remote's most important for a lot of organizations out there. We also offer the training to help ensure your organization's success. Our remote administration services will help you focus on your day-to-day operations. I encourage you to reach out to us at 844-FLYCAST, that's 844-359-2278, or you can visit our website, and there in that bottom right-hand corner, there's a little chat box. They'll be happy to chat with you Monday through Friday during normal business hours. And if you want to poke around on our website a little bit, you'll notice that we have different events and podcasts and webinars. We have different technologies you can check out, as well as training offerings. And if you don't want to chat with us or phone us, you can simply email us. I encourage you to email us at info@flycastpartners.com. Now, without further delay, I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Kyle Hamilton. Kyle, it is all yours, sir.
Well, thank you, Rich, and good afternoon to everybody. Again, my name is Kyle Hamilton. I'm a sales engineer with Flycast Partners, here to provide a flyby of the Remedyforce IT service management application that's based on the Force.com platform from Salesforce. So if anybody's familiar with Salesforce, ever used it in the past, from whether that be from a CRM perspective or for the other thousands of myriad uses, Remedyforce is an example, a particular application that's built on the Force platform that gives you the ability to have a SaaS-based service desk that's ITIL-based, built on best practices, that you can easily access from a browser, from wherever you are, or from your tablet or phone if you're using an iOS or Android device. So you can easily both submit tickets to the service desk if you're an end user, as well as respond to or resolve those incoming requests if you're somebody working within the service desk. Now, the first view that we're going to take a look at would be that customer portal, or the Remedyforce self-service portal. So this is geared specifically for the end user so that they can search out FAQs, knowledge-based articles. They can have access to common templates, for the issues that you deal with all the time, or they have to submit, report all the time, as well as being able to access the service catalog, which you see down at the bottom. So if you're looking to allow end users to be able to submit requests for things like onboarding and offboarding processes, or system access, you can create specific requests and allow the users, as they access this portal, to simply search up those requests by simply typing whatever their question may be, or their topic, whatever those keywords are. And as they start to type, it's going to start to search through all those sources of content for them. So there may be a quick knowledge base article, simply walk through the instructions, follow the video, click on the link, whatever the case may be, download the file, so that they can resolve their own issue and self-help. If they don't find their answer in the knowledge base, then they have other options. They can just click the submit a ticket button if they simply want to just tell you what's going on, or they can also continue on to look at what else may be available. Maybe there's a template that's ready made, so that instead of having to click that submit a ticket button and fill it out for themselves, they can have everything more or less done for them, so that all they have to do is verify that that looks exactly what they need, and they can hit the submit button and off they go. We'll also allow them to have a view into that service catalog, so there may be requests related to that topic. There may also be the potential where their issue is related to something that's already been identified and being worked on, so that you can help notify them both through this search as well as through the banner that you see scrolling across the top, so that as they log into the portal, if there are outages or issues that are affecting large groups of individuals, that's your way to get the word out, and also allow those users to be able to get updates and information as those outages and events are resolved and worked upon. Now, the interface in its entirety can be configured according to your needs, so you can change the graphics, the logos, the fonts and the colors, blended in with the current environment very easily, all using simple drag and drop tools. It doesn't require anybody to write any code or script or understand how to build a website, as well as the ability to be able to control things like the content. So the ability to turn the knowledge base off or on, or provide access to that service catalog. Those are simple check boxes that the administrator can select. So if you're not ready to use all of these features day one, it makes it very easy to go in and disable those things, so that they can essentially disappear from this interface, so that they're not providing things for your end users to get distracted by or get in trouble by going down some rabbit hole. And then you can slowly re-enable those features as you're ready to use them. Now, as an alternative to the Remedyforce end user portal, your internal staff can also open up a browser from wherever they are and be able to respond to those incoming requests or tickets. Now, through this console, based on their role, they'll have access to those different modules, those different ticket types within Remedyforce, as you can see in the drop down here. So whether they're looking for an incident, or looking to create an incident, or looking to create a task, they can access those directly through this drop down menu, and it'll open up in its own tab, so that they can view the contents of that particular module. Now, within there, they also have the ability to create searches that they can return to repeatedly over and over, so that rather than having to dig through everything constantly, if you're a part of a particular group or team, or you simply want to see everything that's opened or closed or in a particular state, then you can have those searches created via that drop down, so that you can always return to those and very easily sort and search through the content, as well as providing the ability to do direct searches, using the search box up at the top if you know that specific record number you're looking for, or some specific piece of information. Now, when it comes to being able to use a platform to automate, we'll take the example here of a service request, where within Remedyforce you have the ability not only to provide that request through that user portal, that self-service portal, but then also to be able to define what that path looks like that request takes through your environment. How many groups does it touch? Is there any kind of specific order or sequence to the way things need to be accomplished? Can they all be done in parallel? Does it require somebody to review it or approve it before we start automatically assigning tasks and divvying things out? So we have the ability within Remedyforce to create all that automation based on that service request template. So if you need to have something approved prior to being fulfilled, then we can create those approval chains, whether it be one level or multiple levels. And then once approved, be able to then automatically begin to generate the tasks and the assignments to those groups and teams that are going to assist you in rolling out that particular request. So that it eliminates all the guesswork and eliminates all the manual entry and gives you a very repetitive process you can report on and track very easily, because everything's being done through the system and through the automation versus requiring individual users to remember to create that task or to notify that user. Now, just over to the right-hand side is also where I can interact with the tasks and the records that I'm looking at. So if I want to add activity, I want to add the time I spend working on a particular task or request, then I can use this window to go in and document in detail what I've done. Or if I need to send an email to that user, maybe to another staff member, that's available. Or I can even create custom actions so that I can record the typical activities that I perform all the time very easily without having to go in and type the same block of text or in that same amount of time each and every time, so that everything becomes a part of that journal, so that you can report on that and everybody has that available for review. Now, just up above, if I was done working on a particular request, then I could go in and actually change the status, maybe close that request when I'm finished working on it, at which point the system's then going to go through and create that next task in that sequence and notifying that next group or that next team member. So now we have, we can see, and by the way, this is also visible to that customer through the self-service portal. So if there's no need, if you want to provide the same level of detail to your end user, you can give them the same visibility into this process so that they're no longer calling or sending emails trying to find out, has it been approved or where is it within the process? This is something they can easily get for themselves. Now, these other tasks that you'll see that are in sequence, and this just plays out as I close one, it creates the next task and it notifies that next group or team member, right? And this is from an administrative standpoint. With Remedyforce, you have complete control over this behavior as well. So who gets notified and what kind of information gets sent, what is the format of that information. So if you want to go in and customize the content of your notifications, you certainly can. BMC provides all the out-of-the-box templates for the standard kind of text. You'll see the text-based notifications, but that gives you the capability if you want to go into here and then add logos or embolden or go in and highlight and edit this content. You certainly have that ability. Rich, before I continue on, I'm going to do a quick check. Do we have any questions from anybody?
Not so far, we do not. I'm monitoring it. So folks, if you do have a question, please go ahead and type that in under the questions section. I'll read them off to Kyle. But for right now, there's nothing in there. So folks, I encourage you, go ahead and type in any questions you have. He'll answer them for you.
All right, thanks, Rich. If we want to look at your basic ticket tracking, incident management, your break fix issues. Again, available through the same console, providing all the same features. So I'm still got the ability to do my quick searches, if I want to find, all of my tickets versus looking at everything else from everybody else or my groups. I can easily search those things up. And I have the same ability to be able to click on that particular record number. It'll open up in its own tab so I can view the contents and details of that particular ticket. Just over the right is where I also see the pull-out window that we just talked about, little journal, where I can record my activity and time or send and view emails that are received and things like that related to this particular incident. So that anytime if I need to review that or I need to add activity, I can always pull that up. Down at the bottom, it also provides me with some suggested content. So this would be things like knowledge base articles, FAQs, problem solutions, things like that, so that if there's the chance that you could use any of the knowledge base articles that you have available to you, it's going to automatically call those up and make those available so that you have the opportunity to be able to walk that user through that resolution or that set of steps. And it also gives you options to be able to leverage that content in terms of being able to update that resolution and close your ticket using that particular article. It'll also give you things like user history. So you can simply see what kind of tickets have been created in the past by this user, how they've been dealt with in the past, and potentially use that as another source of knowledge, as well as giving options for things like templates. So again, this will help me speed up data entry. If I'm getting a ticket from the self-service portal that provides very little data other than a description, this is where I might be able to go in and select a template, and that way I already automatically have it categorized and prioritized and assigned to the right group and team, but without having to go through and populate 10, 20 fields on that form in order to do so. And here at the bottom, it also again relates this user's issue back to that broadcast information we talked about up at the top banner, so that if this customer is dealing with something that is already being worked on, already being investigated, then you have the ability to click on this and actually link it to that known event, in which case it updates and will automatically append that information into that ticket. You'll see here, so that rather than having to go back and update 50 records or 100 records that may all have to do with one singular outage event, I can group those together through that broadcast so that they all get updated, all get closed, and they all get documented accordingly without all the manual entry. Now, within
we do have a question real quick, if you can take it, Kyle.
Absolutely.
All right, and this is Jennifer. She wants to know, does this integrate with DevOps?
Let me just say yes, without knowing specifics. I'm assuming maybe Microsoft DevOps, or let's say any DevOps tool for that matter. You have with Remedyforce, because, and this is one of the benefits of being on the force.com platform from Salesforce, is you can go right now and look at Salesforce APIs, and usually the first non-ad result that you get is going to be the developer guide, and this details out everything that's available for the platform. There are really over a dozen RESTful APIs that are available depending upon what kind of actions you're performing and what kind of volume of data you're working with, what type. They're very robust. They do roughly 5 billion transactions a day using these APIs, and these can be used as long as that third-party app or that external app can receive and consume API calls, then we can communicate with everything that's out there. Now, many of those, let's call them interfaces or integrations that you may be looking for, might already exist in what's called the Salesforce App Exchange. Now, you'll actually find Remedyforce in here as well. So Remedyforce is an application that you can actually search up. If we search on Remedyforce here, we'll actually see Remedyforce being pulled up as an application on the platform, right? But as you'll also notice, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of other applications that are on this platform. And one way, to look up, things like an integration or an interface, well, you see some of these listed even right here, different integrations and interfaces. But let's just say Office 365 is an example. Now, this is where you don't have to take those APIs and spend time writing code and developing interfaces, but instead being able to simply browse this app exchange and perhaps find something that's somebody's already built. It's off the shelf, it can be plugged in. Maybe it does exactly what you need it to do. And all it takes in that case is clicking this Get It Now button, especially when it's free, right? There's no additional cost. And you plug that application into that environment with Remedyforce so that you can provide that additional functionality. So if you wanted something like an Office 365, integration or some type of an interface, I can take something like that that's freely downloadable, and now I can take the self-service portal and I can put the self-service portal right inside of somebody's Outlook 365 client and give them an alternative and give you a way to get your users out of submitting emails and give you more control, over what kind of information is required and the structure of the data, et cetera. But make it just as easy for them to be able to do this as it is to hit the new email button up at the top left-hand corner. And there are thousands, again, of those integrations. Now you'll notice, just like iTunes, Google Play, if you're on an Xbox or a PlayStation, some of these applications are free, some are paid, depending upon depth of functionality, level of integration, things like that. But in all cases, each one of these can be downloaded and plugged in so that in my case, I can have, for example, Remedyforce as a service desk application loaded in my environment where I'm managing incidents, problems, changes, requests, assets. But I can also then go to that app exchange and maybe load another application entirely so that I can easily then switch over to project management, in which case now I'm not dealing with incidents and changes. Now I'm dealing with projects and milestones and budgets and timelines. But I'm able to do that, through the one interface, one login, one administrator, that can now work across multiple applications, whether it's the service desk, whether it's the project management application, whether it's CRM, being able to leverage the platform, which is, the big advantage with Remedyforce is, it has huge advantages in terms of, just the IT service management aspect. But then when you can then see that, you can then expand beyond, ITSM into project or into BI and business intelligence and analytics, in which case, Salesforce just bought Tableau last year for about $2.5 billion. So that's getting ready to roll out on this platform. There's a huge opportunity to be able to exploit this platform for a lot more than just your typical service desk. And it makes it easy to be able to collapse the environment so that you're not doing reporting out of 5 different tools or building dashboards out of several different tools. And you can co-locate everything and collapse all that infrastructure. Now, I'll also mention within Remedyforce, it does give you the ability to do an automated scan of your network, where we'll help you collect all the information on your IT assets, automatically populate those here in the CMDB. So you can easily track your desktops, you can look at your installed software, you can see your servers and your switches and your routers and printers and everything that you have out there to manage, as well as giving you the ability to be able to manage the non-IT devices. It could be facilities equipment, security, equipment, safety, fire extinguishers, and things like that. So we have customers that will use this to manage all types of things, physical plants as well as IT, so that you can put the same kind of approval process and the same kind of notification process and tasking that we saw in the onboarding process. I could do something very similar for a fire extinguisher. If I needed to have some routine maintenance done and I need to automatically assign those tasks and have those things scheduled or approved, then I can go ahead and set that up so that everything that I'm tracking in here, whether it's IT equipment that's being automatically discovered, or whether it's an office credenza or a desk chair that somebody has manually entered, I can still put some process around the management of that asset. An example would be, you see up here in the upper right-hand corner. So I may get notified periodically when I have assets, in that CMDB that have upcoming warranties for expiration or support contracts that need to be renewed. So that rather than having to go and just, run this report, routinely looking for that just becomes a little flag that I get in my browser or on your mobile device. Everybody's seeing, the little Outlook or the, Instagram, flags where you see the 1, 2, 3, 4. You could have the same thing here, letting you know every time that you've got some support expiration coming up, or you've got devices that are out of compliance, or they need to be updated, whatever the case may be, so that you're not constantly having to log in and manually run for those details, but can instead be notified when you reach certain criteria or certain thresholds, so that you have more automation around your reports, just like you do around things like your onboarding process. Now, since we're actually talking about, or since we're here in the reports and the dashboards area, one of the biggest strong points that you'll find about the platform is the ability to grab important, relevant information easily without having to go back to school, or having to spend weeks in books. So in order to provide that ease, BMC has provided an out-of-the-box library. Let me grab my folder here, of 101 reports out of the box that are going to cover every IT service management process that's included within Remedyforce. We're talking about incident management, problem management, change management, knowledge management, service catalog, CMDB, configuration management. All of those reports are built so that you can, browse those as well as search for those. So if I want to look at a change management or change request report, for example, then I can simply go in and browse. Let's just go here and say, show me all the change reports, or let me see all the knowledge reports, right? And be able to search those up and just execute those based on the report title. So I can get in this case, give me a breakdown of the different changes by category, emergency, standard, etc. But let's say maybe there's something there's nothing out of the box that's exactly what I want, or I'm not happy with this, or maybe even I want to create something brand new, which I just click the click new report button. But in this case, I'll just go in and take existing report. And there's all kinds of details that I don't care about. So I can go in and maybe remove data, and I can do that directly through this interface over on the right hand side. You also see over here in the separator, there's a little navigator section over here where I can do the same thing just by clicking on the X and clicking on the buttons. I can also do the same thing, drag and drop with the report contents. So if I want to reorganize something, I can drag it around over there on the left. I can drag it around over here on the right. Anywhere you see something, click it with your mouse, drag it, drop it. That's where it lands. Over on the left-hand side is where I can go back and I can grab additional information that may not have been in the report to start with. So maybe I want to go back and grab other details, like let's say I want to change category. Now I can, again, look, I can take that and I can just drag that into the column order here, or I can just drag it and drop it into the report. Either way, it's going to land where I leave it. So as I go through and I build out all the information I want in my report, then I can collapse this, get that out of my way. Then I can go in and start maybe organizing things. So maybe I don't want it based on the flag. Maybe I want these changes broken down by the owner. I want to know who owns each one of these changes. So now it's going to break those down into those groups and teams and individuals that are assigned to those changes. Maybe I want to go in and I want to, make sure that I'm looking at the right changes. So this is where the filters come into play. Where I can come in and I might only want to look at a certain group or just my changes, or maybe I leave it saying all changes, but I only want changes that were opened up. Maybe I want changes for the last 2 years. So I can expand, the list of results. Or I could go in and maybe I want to filter things based on priority. So I go ahead and say I want to, the priority, we'll say, well, we'll just say equals, right? Well, I just want the high priority issues. So we'll just say high priority 1. So what I'm going to be left with is all of my priority 1 changes. Then I can go back up here at the top, and this will allow me to put the summary charts and the graphs, on top of the data. So if I want to, summarize it or highlight in any particular way, put mouse over so they can see the values and click on it, etc. And then I can simply take this new version that I've now created and just give it a unique name so that I can store it right back to that library so that I can return to it if I needed it in the future. But I can also share that out so that if I feel like that's a report that somebody else may want, then they'll be able to access it, click on it, view the results just by selecting on that report name. Now down at the bottom, it also gives them, well, I should say down at the bottom as well as within the report, drill down functionality. So if I want to focus on just this one facilities management issue. As I click on it, everything else gray's out. That's the only record I have at the bottom. If I want to look at app dev, I click on it. Everything else gray's out, and it's only those tickets that I'm looking at for. If I click, it's only those tickets that I'm looking at for app dev in that case. So you can not only drill down, through the graph, to different groups and department levels, but then also be able to click on an individual record number. If you need to dig into something into detail, you can always drill down, see the exact specifics for that record, and then easily back right up to the report, and then focus in on something else if need be. Now you can also take the reports and build those into what are referred to as dashboard views, which give you, a mashup of multiple reports. So that if you're overseeing a particular process, whether it be incident management or you're in charge of, the change request process, or you're building your knowledge base. I might have dashboards created for creating those KPIs or providing me with those KPIs for those different processes. So in a single page, I can have this open and refresh it as needed. So I'm looking at up-to-date data, and then be able to drill down or drill in just as we just looked at in the same way. So if there's something that's concerning, I can always do what I just talked about and just click on that in the graph. It's going to drill me down, and then I can take a look at the record if I want, or I can work my way right back up to the dashboard and then go into something else completely different. Now, on top of that, with the reports and the dashboards that you build, and by the way, this list that you see here, with the exception of this MSP dashboard that you see, are out of the box. So you have out of the box change request dashboards and the survey dashboards, so that you don't have to create these yourself. All you have to do is start using the application. In this case, creating knowledge base articles and getting feedback, and you've got ready-made dashboards that are going to start helping you to be able to break down, that knowledge management process and maybe where the shortcomings are and what needs to be created or what needs to be updated and things like that, without having to spend time building those things, from the ground up. But you can also notice right up here in the upper right-hand corner, there's a subscription button. So you can also easily set these up on a schedule. So if you're interested in the asset management overview, or you're interested in the knowledge management, for the last 24 hours or what have you, you can simply come in and set that report or that dashboard up on a schedule, so that that simply becomes an email that you receive, so that you don't have to log in each day, to have access to that information. Maybe that's just a mail that I receive each morning that gives me that previous day's activity, or the summary for that week of the service desk, whatever the case may be, so that you've got the ability to create those dashboards and view those dashboards easily from anybody's perspective without having to have a lot of skill, as well as being able to then schedule them and deliver them automatically, so that everybody's getting everything they need with minimal effort. So, Rich, I know we've got about 5 minutes remaining. Do we have any questions that have come in?
We don't have any additional questions, but when you answered the earlier question, they did very much appreciate it. Jennifer did, and she was talking about Microsoft DevOps, by the way.
Okay, perfect. Absolutely.
Folks, if you have any questions, we do have a couple minutes left, and Kyle would be more than happy to answer the questions while he's got a few minutes left here. So go ahead and type those in. I'll read them off to Kyle, and we'll go from there. Kyle, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
The only thing I'd add, just in following up on the Microsoft, the DevOps piece, one thing that additional capability that's available to you with Remedyforce will be the ability to trigger certain actions to DevOps. And that's done through what's called flows. I can show you a quick example here. And these are just these are examples that I have gone and downloaded, right? So I have not built these personally. I cannot take credit for them, but these are examples of what is called Salesforce flows. And these are available across the board. So you're going to see, I mean, again, this is just a sampling of what I've downloaded for 365. There's some for Teams, there's some for DevOps, that you see Concur and Google and on and on. What these provide is they provide all the API call information, so that if you want to create a record in DevOps, or you want to create a message in Teams, this gives you all the information out of the box that you need to be able to pass that data and do it on a triggered basis, right? So I can, when this executes, that could be on some schedule, just do it every 20 minutes, or when somebody creates a particular type of ticket or they submit a particular type of request. So you can literally take this and through those action flows, use this to create all the API calls to DevOps. So if you're looking to synchronize or pull data from or pass data into, this is your drag and drop way where I can go into DevOps and I can then create records right through here. Just takes me one step back from having to write code as a developer. I'll end with that, Rich, unless there's any other questions.
I do not see any other questions, and I definitely appreciate the presentation you gave today, Kyle. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day. Audience, if you do have additional questions and we did not get a chance to answer those today, or you didn't want to type those in today, we can answer them live over the phone. Just call us at 844-FLYCAST. That's 844-359-2278. You can chat with us live on the right-hand side of our screen here. We've got folks standing by Monday through Friday. They'd love to talk to you, or email us at info@flycastpartners.com. Thanks again, Kyle, for your time today. I know you're a busy man.
Love to do it, Rich. Thank you, everybody, for listening. I hope everybody stays safe and have a great evening.
Folks, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy day, and I want to echo Kyle. Definitely make sure that you stay safe out there, and we look forward to seeing you next week. We have a couple of good presentations set up for next week, so by all means, we encourage you to join us on Tuesday and Thursday. Two totally different presentations about ITSM, so I think you'll enjoy it. So join us then. Until next week, we'll talk to you soon.